let's see, I might be on. Give us a second here to warm up. See if things are copacetic. I do not know. Disclaimer: there will be no singing on this whatever the hell this is podcasting. Spoilers ahead. There may be spoilers. Video's working okay. I'm not going to check the audio because, well, hold on, maybe I should do that. Audio's fine. There will definitely be no singing. I promise. That is the end of the singing. Okay, what are we doing today? Well, the microphone's real close to my face, so apologize if that sounds weird or something. I'm going to have to get used to using it at that distance. As previously promised, we'll be solving this Portswigger lab, hacking lab called Exploiting AI Agents to Perform Destructive Actions. Ooh, sounds fun. As you can see, I have solved this already previously, but it's been long enough ago, like a week, that I don't remember, maybe a week or two, I don't remember precisely how I did it, and so we're just going to solve it again on camera, and that should be fun. So that's important. There are spoilers. See, warning, spoilers ahead. Okay, this is your final warning here. Spoilers ahead. If you haven't solved this, I'll try to be careful, kind of tiptoeing around if it looks like we're going to get to the solution or something like that. But otherwise, I might stumble across it and not have an opportunity to say, oh, spoiler ahead or whatever. So let's see, some prerequisites. This is part of the article, AI-powered scanner vulnerabilities, which is over here. So all of this, of course, at portswigger.net. There should be a link in the doodly-doo, hopefully. So you'll find this at AI-powered scanner vulnerabilities. It's a good article. Read it. It's pretty good. This is part of the web LLM attacks article, which is a further prerequisite. You'll want to go read that one. So really start back here. Start with the web LLM attacks, and you go all the way back to Web Security Academy. Of course, you're going to need some familiarity with basic web application security and hacking and all that kind of stuff to do this. But that kind of maybe goes without saying. So this is a good article too. Read this first. That's the prerequisite, and then that'll take you to this article. This is about scanners that are using AI features, generative AI and LLMs, to as part of enhancing their functionality. Now, personally, I haven't run across any of these in like a corporate context yet, but they're kind of brand spanking new sort of thing. Anyways, it's can be assumed that these will be pretty prolific, will be proliferating in production, certainly. So anyways, this is certainly an area of an attack vector, attack surface that behooves us to take a look at it. So pretty good, interesting article here. And as usual with the Portswigger labs, I'll give you some quick tips here on how they go about doing this. They will introduce the subject matter. You should read it very thoroughly, and if you find any stuff in here, these are meant to be very condensed. So this is if you are, air quotes, a hacker already, and you're used to doing this sort of stuff and thinking about this sort of stuff. It's written in that way. So if you find stuff that you need to understand better, like, I don't know, instruction-based architecture, where you need to know more about that, then go off and do your own. While you're reading the article, go off and follow these tangents and familiarize yourself with them, because they're not gonna call everything out for you. See, like we're talking about CSRF already right here, cross-site request forgery, and that is being used in the context of combining it as making it part of these attacks. So this is a prerequisite, is what I'm saying. So the rest of this isn't going to make sense unless this makes sense to you already. So as you read through these articles, give yourself the time to go in and follow up these threads and make yourself comfortable with them. Another thing that I'll tell you is in the articles, they'll introduce the bulk of the material up front here, and then there will be a lab, right? And the lab is going to relate to, obviously, is going to relate to the content of the preceding article, but most importantly, it almost always, I find, relates to the contents like in the previous couple of paragraphs. They'll be pretty careful to make sure that it is addressed, whatever is used in the lab is addressed very freshly, most recently in the article in which the lab is embedded. And so then and this becomes a little more obvious when they start doing this. So they'll add, tack on additional context, right, to the discussion in the article, and then they'll introduce another lab. So like, lo and behold, the lab that immediately follows this, you can kind of think as this is, if you start to wander off course and you're like, am I even looking in the right place anymore? If you backtrack and you look at what they were talking about immediately before the lab was introduced, you'll often find that it's not so much a hint, but it can put you back on track. Again, quick disclaimer: there may be spoilers ahead. Also, I just remembered another disclaimer I should make is you may hear a little bit of music in the background. I just can't work without music, so hopefully I don't get a major copyright strike or anything, but there is going to be some music there. Okay, so anyways, that's my tip on how to read the articles. There's still one here that I haven't, this one just came out. A few of these were just added and I haven't solved these yet. Maybe if I whip through this real quick, maybe I'll take up one of those. So anyways, this one I've already solved. This is the exploiting AI actions to perform destructive actions, or AI agents. I'll just read it here. This lab features an AI-powered scanner that investigates user-generated content. The scanner has been given login credentials for Carlos, our infamous enemy, our nemesis, lab-wide nemesis in all of these labs. So it can explore authenticated areas of the site. It's been given login credentials for Carlos so that it can explore authenticated areas. They gave the scanner an end user's login credential. I don't know. There's very sloppy administrators around here. Anyways, you also have an account with which you can log in using this username and password here. To solve the lab, as often is the target in these labs, you are to delete Carlos. Somewhere in there is the functionality to delete Carlos, and you're going to find it, and you're going to use it to delete him. There's some other stuff that says to scan it. You click the scan site button, you'll see. One thing that I actually do, I know why they put this in there. It's because the scanner is an LLM, and LLMs are, I'm going to put huge air quotes around this because I don't want to argue with computer science people in this particular, I do want to, but not right at the moment. But, non-deterministic, because the LLMs are, air quotes, huge air quotes, non-deterministic. Of course, they're computers, so they're entirely deterministic. But they are modeling non-deterministic behavior. In other words, your results of executing any command, any sort of instruction with an LLM, is not likely to produce exactly the same results over and over again, depending on everything, on how things are tuned, on how it's implemented, on the context, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, they call that out here. They're saying you may need to scan it or try different approaches multiple times because things are fuzzy now, and hacking is not, even hacking is not completely deterministic as it once was. It's a real bummer for us obsessive compulsive types that were drawn to computing in the beginning. Anyways, moving on. They tell that you should read these articles. So I just told you about that, and some privacy stuff. Anyways, here we go. And hey, I don't know actually how the solutions get selected, but maybe if this one does not suck, it kind of already sucks. Maybe I'll get included in that. So we open up the lab. This will take a while. In case this is your first time here, these Portswigger labs are very generous and they're really awesome. You should complete all of them. But my point was that they provide you free, gratis, no charge, access to this virtual server that is just spun up and to specifically to provide this instance. So this is a real machine that you are actually now hacking, and Godspeed to you. So anyways, all right, here we go. Again, spoilers may be ahead. I did. I did. So did I not take notes the last time I did this? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean they're kind of scattered. Sorry, I have to check the audio here. Yeah, they're kind of scattered, and it's my little desktop doohickey. And also, this is just more fun, anyways. So, don't panic if you do like I'm doing and are starting a lab again, like this. It'll show not solved because you're restarting the lab, right? But back in the solved thing, it'll still show that it's been solved. So it's cool. You still get to keep your credit. So yeah, and if you get stuck, while you're doing the lab, you're like, what the hell was I supposed to be doing? Which, yeah, is going to happen. You can open this back to lab description in a new tab here, and it'll remind you that your target here is to delete Carlos. Now, I'm probably not going to talk through the entire exercise. I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of dig into this, and then I'll probably chime in if I have something that I think is of value to offer, like an observation or something. So since the goal is to delete Carlos, and we've been discussing tricking LLMs into executing malicious instructions on your behalf, i.e. exploiting AI agents to perform destructive actions. And we're in this blog site with these blog entries. I'm going to assume, and spoiler, I did solve this before, but the solution is going to involve putting those instructions in some of these fields in some way, in a manner that confuses the LLM-based scanner in such a way that it executes them, and in so doing deletes Carlos, which is the target, the objective of the lab. Okay, so let's take a look at this for a minute, and I'll be off mic for a while. Okay, am I off mic? Yeah, I'm off mic. All right. Well, I decided to go with a rather cheesy and clumsy comment here for that. It's actually pre-filling in a bunch of exploit stuff that I've done for other labs in here, so I'm going to delete all of these. Let's see. So any one of these fields might be the one that is the attack vector. See, one thing that distinguishes these sorts of labs from the real world that I always think is kind of funny and people don't talk about this much is you do approach it differently, because I know there's a vulnerability on this website, because that's the point of the lab. In the real world, they're there could be that there's no vulnerability at all. And I could be poking at some sort of functionality that isn't going to succumb to anything. So you can take a little bit of a different approach in a scenario like this. You're well, there's only a few places for me to give input here, and there's a hole in one of them, so stick stuff in all of them. I put a rather also clumsy and unwieldy HTML injection test, which should be rejected outright. So it should be pretty obvious that it objects this. This is a pretty typical one. I'm putting in an image tag and I'm giving an invalid source. So this image does not exist. What's going to happen when it can't find that image? It's going to run this on error. And on error, I told it to print. Back in the day, this would be alert or something. But this is blocked in some context on some browsers and stuff. So print's kind of more popular more recently. But in here would be our call to admin delete, if this works or whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna post this comment and then see. Well, we're gonna see how it takes that. it says thank you, and so here's that scan button, right, which is described in the lab over here, right? To use the scan button to scan the blog. So I'm going to take a look at the blog post first, though, and I guess here's where this is where the link went, right? Here, let's copy this. This is where the link ended up going. So it did include all of that and encoded it. So I don't think it's gonna, yeah, right, and encoded it. So these are filtered out. Oops, that music getting a little out of hand there. So these are probably filtered out. They're not, they're harmless. Well, they are harmless. Scan the website though and see what the LLM scanner. So now the LLM scanner, empowered with Carlos's credentials, is, I guess, looking over their website and reading all of these comments. All of these came with the test, by the way. I didn't write these, and then it will give the report. Somewhere in there, we will find our clue as to what kind of functionality we could use to delete Carlos. In the meantime, I want to look over here at the My Account. I didn't actually use mine. So this is about the time. This is about the point where I start taking like notes in a file of URLs and like this stuff, because I might not want to type this again. I'll just keep a copy of it over here. Okay, so the scan's done. That's the LLM scan. Now we can view the scan results. It says the blog application contains an XSS in the comment in the website field. Oh, okay, there, website field. It says allows injection of on-click handlers. It tells us that it's using the credentials for Carlos. It has CSRF protection tokens on forms. I think we're gonna see that in a second. Oh, okay. So the cross-site scripting vulnerabilities to be used to, we'll use that to perform actions on behalf of the other users. So the thing is, like, see this get my account? I guess that's this. That's get my, yeah. Get my, that must be when you log in. So after login is get my account. Here's my account ID Carlos, right? So I'm assuming we can't do that because we're not logged in. By the way, interesting note, it doesn't actually matter if there's 2 slashes. I don't know why. It should, but it doesn't. Yeah, okay, it just 302s us, I'm sure, to the login page. So we get a chance to see how my account works. Obviously, again, I was talking about the difference between these labs and the real world. You're not going to see this, okay, ever in the real world. What we're looking at right here, this my account ID equals this is never ever going to happen, okay, in your life. It's going to be in a cookie. It's going to be in some tokens and stuff like that. I mean, at a minimum, it's not this. It's not even going to say ID equals administrator. It's going to be ID whatever, and the whatever is going to be a long cryptographic string or something. So, it looks like the interesting thing is actually posted a comment. So I'm assuming the blog was updated. I'm going to refresh it, and yeah, it did. It added its own scanning thing. It added it to the blog comments. So that's how you do that. That's how you do a post. Posting comments. Got and posted a bunch of comments actually. Actually, it did this repeatedly. That's interesting to know. Apparently, you can post the same comment multiple times. That is interesting. It did look, I wonder if it looked at admin because I told it to, or if it just looked at admin because it looked at admin. And yeah, and its response, it doesn't tell you. Okay, so it's time to log in. That way I can see, we can see what those look like. Now, right about now, you'd be thinking, this is where you would pull out burp and use it, to observe the login process or whatever, but I don't really do that. I mean, I do that if I need to, but I don't really need to, like, for something like this. If I just want to watch the login, procedure. I'll just open Chrome DevTools in case you didn't notice. That's what I just did. So a couple of ways to get there. You can hit, I think it's F12. Yeah, F12 on this keyboard or whatever. You can right-click. This applies to most browsers, anyways. You can right-click really anywhere. If you want to look at something specifically, you can right-click on it. That's something to look at later. And choose Inspect, which just opens Chrome DevTools on Inspect. So that's another short, quick way to get there. And DevTools, I mean, if this is your first time, welcome to the globe Earth, I guess is the phrase or whatever. Now it's big. It's a big thing. It's maybe one of the most complicated pieces of software I've ever seen in my life. And I'm familiar with ForeFlight. That's a complicated piece of software. So anyways, among the many things that you can do in DevTools, you can open this network tab. It's fantastic. It's great. You'll see. We're going to do a bunch of stuff with it. So I haven't bothered starting up Burp yet for the AI labs in here, and so I'm pretty sure I didn't use Burp for this lab either, which means I probably just used Chrome DevTools and maybe at most maybe like we might use a shell or something. Maybe there's some small chance we might use a shell. Anyways, all right. So the username was, where is it in here? Username's Wiener and the password is Peter. So, but what I want to do is I want to watch the login process while we do this. As previously mentioned, you could do this just as well in Burp or Kaido. I've been using Kaido a lot too lately. But in either one of them, I guess in OWASP Zap, if you're feeling rustic, I don't know. I wish that thing were better, really. So I put in the password from the lab, Peter, and I'm going to hit login, and you will see. This is not related to anything. Let's forget about that password warning because a billion people have used that password. No duh. Okay, so here we are in the network tab, and don't worry about these errors down here. These are not important right now. And yeah, you'll see this looks, if you're a Burp user or a hacker in any muster, this will look familiar to you, where you are seeing you could see the requests and the response. Here's the responses right here. 302 for that and a 200 for my account. The 302 is redirect to we'll see. You're about to see. And these will if you keep doing, we'll keep doing transactions here, and you'll see that these all appear in here, and you can operate on these. So here is the login request. We call it a request. Of course, it's a post in this case. And you can see all this stuff, all the same stuff that you would see in Burp or Kaido that you would be working on. All of it, your session cookies, all the good stuff. Here's your method, with post, etc., all the good stuff. Here's the payload right here. You can view it as source or as parsed. As you can see, we were sending the username and the password, and there is in fact a CRSF token, as the scanner had noted that there is a CRSF token, and there is. You can check out the responses, and it's just so much fun. It's everything you need is in here, cookies too, everything. So anyways, also you get your little JavaScript console down here where you can run stuff, whatever you want, right? So you can do all your Java stuff down here. And another one of the things that you can do with these little things, I will show you, is you can right click on it, which will open up a wealth of little options. So many options and so much fun to be had in here. I actually have not messed with this thing yet. Let's not talk about AI in that context right now. But this copy stuff is fantastic. Okay, and this copy submenu, you're gonna love everything in here. You can copy this request as a curl command, for instance. Now you can bring it over here and paste it into as a curl command, and look, it has all the goodies. It sets all the cookies for you. it has the session token right here, all of that. It sets all the right headers, everything to match exactly. Look, here's down here. It sets the data, right? The body of the data for the post, and the CSRF token is included and fresh. It's up to date. I mean, what else do you need, really, right? Will this work? Yeah, probably, but I don't want to muck things up right this second. We'll play with that actually in a second, but first I want to show you this because you can copy it as a fetch, which you can simply, there's also a copy in PowerShell, I guess, if you're into that, whatever. You can copy it as a fetch, and that way you can run it from here, from the JavaScript console. So here is your repeater. So you go ahead in here and modify whatever it is you want to change, and you just go ahead and you change the body of the thing right here, right? I mean, obviously I don't have that password. That's not the point. And you can still execute it. And this is actually pretty sure the CSRF token's wrong because that's not going to work. But you'll see because we'll do this too. Actually, we're going to do it right now to update the email so that I see how the update email thing works. The thing is, what I need is to see this delete request. But first we'll do this. Look. Okay, we'll update the email, and when we do so, the request will appear over here. Update email, there we go. So these are all the requests that were generated as part of changing the email. Here's the change email thing, and then I suppose we got a 302 back to my account, and that's where we went after that. So here is the request to change email. We'll show you Here's the payload right here. So it was changing the email to the 2 duck eggs, as you saw. It was changing it to that, and here's the CSRF token. I could just take this and copy it as a fetch, and then we'll go in here and use this same request to change the email to something else. I'm going to change it to harpo at gmail.com. So see, I just changed it to harpo at gmail.com. We can send that request, and it's sent off. You can see it right here. Here is the request. It was just added to this list. You see, the first one was the first one we were looking at. This is the second one that we were looking at. Make sure I am, yeah. This is the second one we're looking at. So we sent harpo at gmail.com, and I'm pretty sure if I hit refresh on this page, we will find that the email has been changed to harpo at gmail.com. Ta-da, harpo at email.com. See, so now you get the whole workflow. You see how you can use Chrome DevTools to do like probably about 80% of what you're doing in Burp or Kaido or whatever it is you're using. I mean, if that wasn't good enough, you can always just do that, but then you can put it in, copy it as curl, and then just start taking it apart in here. Maybe write your own scripts to do the work or whatever. So anyways, where the hell were we? Okay, so the thing is, if we're going to delete Carlos's account, we need to know how to delete an account. And I don't think, I mean, I can look at this, right? We'll be looking at, how this form works. Okay, here's the form. It includes the CSRF token. It makes a post to my account delete. Yeah, but you'll see that this doesn't tell me exactly what the request is going to look like. We can kind of assemble it. So it may be that the only safe way to do this is to delete my own account. I'll have to log back in, no big deal, right? Yeah, so we'll just start this, we'll delete the account, then we'll see the delete request, then we'll know how to place that request. Okay, so here's the request. It sends this, and then I get, oh, there it is. Yeah, so it's just it is a post to my account delete. And the account's deleted. Okay, well, that's easy. With the CSRF token. All right, so what I need, all right, I get it. Okay. So what we need to do is get, no, we need to get the scanner to scan this URL. This might not even be, it mentioned there is a cross-site scripting vulnerability. In the website field, it says website field. Malicious JavaScript through HTML attribute. Okay, so let's see. Yikes, I don't want that. Yeah, we'll just stick to this one article. We'll keep torturing this article here. Okay, so that we think there's nothing in it. This we think there's nothing in it. But we think there might be something in this. So we'll say that's my okay. So what if what this looks like, because it's a URL, right? Yeah, it is. It's an href. Okay, so what if this looks like inside? If it looks like this, and it's got website, that's the thing that we type in. This is what the user provides. Does it have anything else? Yeah. Okay, so if it looks like that, and we're entering this part, then I might be able to enter my thing right here, whatever that is, and then close it, and then add an on-click handler, and then do a thing inside that. I'm not going to worry about what that is yet, and then something like something irrelevant, and it doesn't really matter because it's going to end it with right. That is going to become right. This right here, right, is going to become that. Get it? So I'll just leave this other dangling. Quote right here, and then when it puts on the rest, it's going to be this, right? Because it's going to think this is website, right? All of this is website. Okay, that's my thing. Okay, except it's not that. It's not my thing. Instead, it's going to be right that, and then that, and then that, and then that. And what was the URL? The delete URL. Shit. I think it was my/account delete. Damn it. I really should have kept that. I should have kept that one open. And here we go. Oh, because I'm logged out now. You know what? Actually, it's probably not going to accept this because I'm logged out. All right, hold on. All right. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's not going to let me do this anyways. Oh, it did let me do that. That's weird. Well, that is strange. I thought I would have to log in for that, apparently. That's weird. I guess, well, I forgot this is not a real website, though, so it doesn't really matter. I just realized I could probably just try to request. Oh, no. I screw up the? Oh, that's right. I deleted that account. I deleted my own account. Shit. All right. You know what? There's a kind of a history in here because I can go back here. Yeah, it's this, isn't it? This is the URL. Damn it. All right. I really should have copied that. So I think the problem here, am I going to need an account? I guess I don't, because I can still put an account in. I can still put comments in there. I just don't know for sure what the URL is. Jeez. Like, what am I going to get if I request? Hold on. I want to know what I get if I request this URL. Clear this, and then yeah, okay. So I mean, I have to admit, there's one thing that you will get with Burp or Kaido, a proper hacking proxy, is you will get a history. So you don't, once you click these little clear things, it's gone. So you don't get to go back and see it. So I got a 302 for that, but I think I would get a 302. See, the response here is a 302 to that delete request, and it sent me to the login page for 302. But I think I would get that with any URL, right? So like, I'll go back here and say duck eggs. I think I'm gonna get, yeah, I get the same thing. I get a 302, right? Same thing. So it's inconclusive is the point. That's inconclusive. I think that's the URL. You know, I actually can't see it because I would have to log in, and since I deleted my own account in testing, I can't log in. But I might not need to. You know what? So we're gonna go back and try. I'm gonna go back and try my post idea, which will be this basically. Is that this part right here? This is going to be the website URL, and the rest of it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is just a comment, and then it should be inside. It should be making a href, because this becomes an href down here. The website thing becomes an href, so it should be making that. Except I'm going to leave this. I'm going to close this and then add an onClick handler, and the onClick handler is going to be. Wait, that's not going to work. I need a fetch. Actually, it just looks like that. I know this is really kind of like throwing it on. It's kind of, but yeah, that's what the fetch looks like basically. We can look at the previous version here for a little guidance. Yeah, there's the URL. Actually, it should also have a method post on the end, so it should really look like. It should be a fetch for my account, delete, and then there's on the end of this, oops, on the end of this, there's a method post. That has to be in these though. Yeah, that should do it. That's the plan anyways. Sometimes it helps to like break this stuff apart so I can see what I'm looking at. Okay, make sure everything's properly delimited. Because like nothing's going to tell you if there's errors or anything. It's not like it's going to say, oh, input error. It's just going to not work, and you won't know that you actually had the answer, but you missed it because you had one character out of place or something. Okay, so this is going to be the URL. Okay, yeah, this is basically my thing. That's my thing, is what that is. Yeah, okay, so it's going to be Carlos when it executes this. It's going to run a post to my account delete, and that should do it. All right, so that's what I'm using as the website URL. So this is the crucial trick right here, is that it's closing the URL field, because inside it's going to say href equals quote, and then it's going to put the user's website in right here, right? But like my website has a quote in it, and then has some other stuff here, right? And the other stuff is the stuff. That's the stuff, the bad stuff. That's the on-click handler. Should it be on-click, or should it just be like, is it going to click it? I don't know if the scanner clicks things. That's the problem. Anyways, I think that's a pretty good start. And I'm going to put it in the notepad thing, or in case I get lost, it could happen. All right, and that should work, I think. Okay, post, comment. Oh, it doesn't like the format. God damn it. Oh, you know what? I think it just needs an HTTP. Yeah, I bet that's it. Oh, okay. Oh, you're welcome for my comment. Just gonna keep a copy of that. Now we can rescan it, and we'll see if what the scanner has to think about it. Remember, this being like an LLM thing also kind of means that, you know, like I was saying before, and like the lab indicated, you know, it's kind of non-deterministic, so it can be unpredictable. I think that's kind of like code for non-deterministic. I mean, I kind of take issue with that, because if it's a computer, of course it's deterministic. But, you know, it's programmed to be unpredictable, to be kind of random. There's a random element, so it might not work the same every time you use it. And that's why they were saying you might have to scan it multiple times or try different approaches or whatever. Well, we can sell. Well, it definitely didn't work already. Otherwise, the little solving thing would come up and say, "Hey, you solved the lab." If it had deleted Carlos, clearly did not delete Carlos. Get my account. Get admin. I think I have the wrong URL, because there's a my account change email. Was it like my account / delete? It's so stupid that I don't remember what it was, because that was like, and now I can't log in because I deleted the account. I don't know if I could get something done with the forgot password. Maybe I just go into Carlos's account. Why don't I just have Carlos's account mailed, Carlos's password mailed to me? The thing is, did it even execute it? Look, it contains this. It said application properly implements CSRF token protection. Yeah, but it's running under his account anyways. I think this might be part of that non-deterministic thing. I'm going to have it scan it again anyways, while I try to see if I can determine what that URL is. Although I guess I can't, because they don't have an account, so I'm going to get a 302 no matter what URL I request. What I could do, I'd have to wait for it to time out. The thing is, like, if you close the lab down right now and you come back, it'll still be the same server. So I'll still be missing my account, which is deleted, literally deleted from the system. So I think it's this. Fine. I think, here's the thing. I think the account is actually, where were these URLs? My account ID, it might be, is it slash, my account / delete. Yeah, it was just a delete, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that now. It was just delete, and there was no body parameters. Scan failed? What does that mean? That's interesting. Huh. I think I'm just going to try it again. No? Weird. That's certainly non-deterministic. I remember this from the last time. I think when it's doing its air quotes scan, I think it is, it's running these things. Like, so it's making a blog post to do this as a check. Right, because I didn't make these. Where's the one I made? It's called Ducks. This is it right here. Let's see if it had different results. It does have different results. Eesh, God. Hacking's going to be a pain in the butt because these are different. Like, it's not completely deterministic every time. My account ID equals Carlos, and my account ID equals administrator. There's a /admin. /admin. Well, it's my account delete, all right. You know, I don't think it should be the on-click. It's the thing here. I kind of want to use like an image source error handler. I like those. Like that. Yeah, that'll do. I think this doesn't work with it because I'm not sure if it's clicking. That's the thing. How do I know if it's? I don't think it is clicking the URL. Yeah, my account /delete. That's the URL. There's an on hover for Ahrefs, isn't there? You know, maybe I could just put multiple of these in. What the hell? Why not? Oh shit! Oh, oops. I might have to. I just realized I was missing the thing that was supposed to trailing over, like a trailing thing to leave this open. Remember? I'm asking myself. I forgot to put that in. Yeah, there has to be one of these. Since I'm closing their quotes, right? I need to open up a quote again so that they can close it. Otherwise, they're going to be closing a quote. It'll break the HTML. So, okay, this is it. Yeah, you know what? This is almost certainly it. You know, it's weird because I described that in my little illustration about how I was gonna do this, and then I failed to implement that. So here we go. You're welcome for my comment. And we'll run the scanning. Dahoo ba boop. See how that goes. That did not delete Carlos, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm not adding these. It added this, certainly. The problem is I no longer know what the delete URL is. It is really stupid. Shit. And so I can't log in. I see, yeah, if you close down this lab and you go back into it, it will be the same instance. All the same stuff will still be in there. Right, yeah. So it still retains the state, at least for a while. I'm not sure how long, but it does certainly retain it for a while. So that means I can't log in because I deleted my own account. Right. I wonder about this. Is this any use? I don't think so. Hold on. Let's see here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to watch Carlos submit a email, a forgotten password request. It sends a post. Here's the payload. It doesn't give you anything. It gives you nothing of use at all. Yeah, you just get to check your email, that's all. I also don't think it's gonna generate an actual email, the lab, I mean. So I actually might have to, I might have to actually stop this and let it time out. Let the lab time out so that I can get, so that I can have another account to actually log in with, because there's no way to create an account. That is called painting yourself into a corner, I think. I might not. Do I really need it though? And maybe I can get the scanner to. Maybe I can get the scanner to fight to determine what it is for me. You know what? I mean, in the real world, that's what I would have to do. I would have the luxury of waiting for systems to reset or something. I mean, I would not expect that to be compelling, but this is a simulation, right? In the real world, you'd have to go through a lot more, jump through a lot more hoops to make this look like something, and may need to do that actually. And I'll just, sure, why not? So then we'll rescan it. And go back here anyways. But I don't expect it on this list of scan results for it to actually list out the delete URL. Really silly to have lost that. Yeah, I might actually have to wait. Unless, was this it? I don't know, it seems like this is the right URL. Really, this is more a matter of not taking very good notes this time. All right, so what are the results? Yeah, it's not telling me what to do. Oh, there it is. It is my account delete, right? Yeah, my account delete. I was right the whole time. All right, so then that means I don't need an account. Yeah, all right, no big. All I need to do is trick the damn thing into visiting this URL. On click. I've been using an on click here. What am I going to put in there? Man, this looks right to me. Let me see what this request looked like in the previous instances in which we ran it. Actually, there was a successful, I mean, this is how it deleted the account, right? Was through here. What did it include? These headers are not terribly important here. These other fields might, this is by default, and I went through a huge exercise, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, testing this out, and then realized per spec, as per spec, this is included by default on the same domain. So long as you're within the CORS rules and on the same domain, credentials are going to be included by default. So you don't actually need this. The post, we are stipulating. This is a change email request, actually. Yeah, this is a change email request that I just messed around with. I would be very surprised if it required this. It's not likely. Yeah, so it would be right in here along with this. I just don't think it needs this. Right, like that. Oops. Okay. What is this? Oh, Carlos, right. Okay. I'm going to call this, here, we'll just call this dangle, right? So that it's clear what's going on there. Because this first bit right here, this closes out the quotes. There's already going to be a quote in there. And then closing it out allows me to add these tags here, right? I do think it probably, does it click them? I mean, what handler can I put so that just when it loads it, that allows me to open this up again, right? To add another quotes so that I can put in this fetch syntax, which is long and wraps around a couple of times. No big deal. That would have been an error. That's the end of the parameters for the fetch request. This is the end of the fetch right here. This is the end of the on hover. And this is a new pointless thing that means nothing. This is a pointless tag, right? And it reopens the quote again, so that when the code that is going to append this, it's going to append blah 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 blah. It gets what it's expecting. It's going to append this and blah 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 blah, whatever the fuck else it is. So that's why that is written the way that it is written. All right, there it goes. So this is what we're going to put in the website field. All right, I think the thing that I need to do here is iterate on different handlers here. So I might need multiple of these, like this, you know? I mean, maybe it's that. I don't remember what happens with an href with the onload. I don't think onload means anything in this context. Like this, I don't think that means anything. Because remember, this is a href over here. That's what's happening, like that. Oops, like that. I don't think this means anything. That's why I can't use that. That's why I'm not using it, at least. That's why I'm using on hover. but I might be wrong. If onload actually works for an href, then I'm making this a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I'm going to try both of these. I'm just going to keep them here in a little notepad here. And we'll try both of them. Even though, like I said, I don't think onload means anything. I keep saying that. I feel apparently very obstinate about that. Okay, so go ahead and rescan it. And again, here the hypothesis is that, let me check the audio levels here. Oh yeah, that's working, okay. All right, the hypothesis here is it will scan it, it will observe that URL, it will hover, I don't know. I mean, does it click on the URLs? That would be really stupid. So it will trigger the URL, and when it triggers it, and that post request will be placed. But it obviously didn't work. If it did work, then the deleted Carlos would have been deleted like immediately. Let's see. The vulnerability could be exploited or potentially deleted counters by adjusting to the my account delete endpoint. Oh, so it observed me doing that. On a click, on focus. Oh shit! You know, God, Yari. You know what? Thank you. So look, this is kind of nice of them, right? Like they actually told us what handlers might be used. Might be. I was talking about this a little earlier too. I mean, it is different. I mean, it sounds pretty obvious. I don't think we need this referrer. I'm going to take that out. I don't think we ever needed it. And it makes the syntax really, really, really crazy. I know. Okay, there we go. This is all one line, by the way. I was explaining earlier that like we know there's a bug in this, right? We know that there's an exploit, there's a vulnerability in this web application that's very different from the real world. You know, like in a way it's important. In an important way, it's different because you know if you invest time looking for a vulnerability in this, you know, venue, you're going to find one. Whereas something else, for all you know, you're just like you're beating a dead horse. There may be nothing there, you know, to get. So it's not like you can't think about it the same. Is what I'm saying, you know. Okay, so again, we're going to close the URL. On focus is the I got to remember that one. How did I forget about on focus? All right, I don't even care about these other ones now. That's got to be it. So when it does the on focus, it's going to do the fetch for my account delete, which we know works because that's how I deleted my own account. Which is why we can't access the account pages at the moment. And then this thing is just to allow it to close the syntax again, which is what it's expecting to do. So that actually, I believe that should actually work. I'm going to say that works, but we might have to run the scan more than once on account of the air quotes, you know, non-deterministic nature and all of that stuff of, you know, modern hacking. Okay, apparently not. Or it would have executed that. Why not? Why not? It's going to be the syntax of it. Do I even need to? You know what? I might be overcomplicating this. Maybe I don't even need this fetch. Maybe if I just put the URL in there, it's going to use it. I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like it. This call has to be a post. It is a post. This is a post, right? That can't be a get. Is this breaking yet? What if I just put this in here? Was it? Does it do this? It won't just do that, right? That would be stupid. Sometimes it looks like that. Let's see what we get. Autofocus. I don't know this handler. Oh, it literally spotted me doing this. Right, when victim's view. Victim, in this case, being the LLM that's doing the scanning. Actually, don't know this one. What's in that? Hold on. Is there something in there? No. What is the admin page? If you can delete your own account, what's the admin page for? What did that say? On click on focus. This one says autofocus. Oh, that was a get last time that I stuck in there, huh? Yeah. Just because as a test, I meant to go back and do it again as a post. I think it might not like this. This keeps getting encoded, and that is a problem. These characters are being encoded, I noticed. The brackets, curly braces they're called. I'm just going to call it closer because it's shorter. You know, you can make up any tags you want, right? It don't mean crap. HTML is very formless. See, the thing is, I think this is a post though. I think you're gonna get a. Oops, hold on. To see the response for these requests, one needs to have the console open. There was no. It just gave us a 302 login. Without a login, you can't do anything except post comments, apparently. All right, I'm going to try this, but I don't expect it to work because I think fetch is a post only. I think that endpoint only handles posts. Now, so these exist. It's not, I don't think it is, I see no reason to believe that it is placing these requests. What had I changed? What did I change the URL to? On focus. What about autofocus? Do I even need this closer? Maybe I don't need this closing bit. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave that part on. I'm gonna leave the post in. It's called autofocus? I don't even know that one. And maybe I don't need this. Yeah. It really depends on what comes after it. So that's the workflow with this one. Come up with a URL to be entered into the website field, and then run the scan, and then look at the output and see if it's giving you any clue. As I recall, when you do manage to inject the right exploit, when it finishes the scan, it's gonna delete Carlos like right away. So you'll know even before you look at the output. It'll just finish the scan and then it'll pop up that Carlos is deleted, that you saw off the lab. Ah, there it is. So it does exist. This is interesting because I don't think they're going to let you change. I don't think they're going to let you change the password for change the email for Carlos. None of these labs I've never seen any of these labs send email to an external domain. If the lab involves sending email, they build in like a little imaginary email client into the lab. So that is the correct URL. It's convenient having a copy of what I'm working on. So I do think OnFocus is the right handler for this. Maybe I could just put it in like a bunch of times for different handlers, and maybe it'll call them all. I don't even know how the autofocus handler works, but I'm gonna put it on there anyways. Okay, so this is going to be my URL. I also think I might need to be using the other quote to close this. I don't know. It's unclear. Let's see here. So, and then this is the one I'm going to put in this time. Okay, bon voyage. Thank you for your comments. Here's the request it's placing, by the way. Which is why I said you don't really necessarily need burp for this. You can do all of this in DevTools. Although, if I had been doing this in burp, at least I would have the history log, so I wouldn't have spent that long trying to verify that my account /delete is a real URL. That would have been nice. So still, it does have some advantages, but you don't always have, burp handy or whatever, or Kaido or whatever. Sometimes you got to work with what you got handy. So I think it's good. It's good to know how to do this stuff with with these other tools. Look, here's the scan running. It doing its little scan thing right now. Okay, well, Carlos is not deleted, so I assume that didn't work. Count, it did a bunch of posts, and this text up here for these scan results is starting to get repetitive. I'm seeing some basic, has agreed, you know, that there's a vulnerability in the website field. The website field being this field. It says in the website field, allowing you to eject malicious JavaScript through on-click or on-focus. It mentions that authentication is working, but that won't matter because it's running it under Carlos's account, so it's got his credentials. All right, I think I'm gonna go. It must be something very simple about the syntax here. Let me take a look at. Here's the URL that it is generating, and that is jacked up, so that's not going to work, obviously. So that's going to be what the scanner sees. It's going to see this. We don't want that. Yeah, we want that to break out right there. This right there. Oh shit, it's the freaking space. It's fracking it up. Fracking it up. Oh shit, I promised there would be no singing. This is what I said in the beginning of this. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that would kind of do it, right? All right, I think, you know what I'm thinking. Of course you don't know what I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking half the time. All right, here's what I'm thinking now. This for the website field, that, and this is going to be an on focus. And then this is going to be, you know what, this could be that, right? And then this can be that. And then this could be that. I'm just inverting these now. That could be that. That could be that. That could be that. And that could be that. Can this be a get, I wonder? I can't test it. You can only test this once because if it works, you delete your account. Which is why I don't have an account, because it's deleted. Alright, that's the latest. And whatever. Okay, so this is going to be the website field now. It ends with that. I feel like I need to terminate this again, like that, so that it can put another one of these on the end, so that the real payload is this. I don't know, but it might not need this. You really have to test both of those conditions. And again, I'm not actually using burp for this because we don't need burp for this yet. I wonder though, because the post that I'm doing for posting a message, that could be placed. Maybe it is a good time to open up burp. I know I solved this because I already solved this lab, right? I just didn't take good enough notes, honestly. Which is why I think I'm going to start recording these. And I don't think I used burp for it. I think I just used Chrome DevTools. 99% of the time, I just used Chrome DevTools, honestly, for most stuff. I don't even have to pull out like Kaido or burp or anything. And certainly for these labs, you can get away without it most of the time. What is it saying? It's, oh, yeah, my test payload. Oh, thank you very much. You basically just gave us one. Gave us a whole payload here. All right. Well, The system itself was actually I actually felt bad watching me flail about. All right, here's what this is a scan results right here actually are suggesting this. Here it is. Here are the scan results. Based on my security scan of the website, I've identified the following critical vulnerabilities. Okay, this is lying already because it says I, and this is a machine, not a person. So how dare it use those sort of personifications like that? But anyways, the system has identified the following vulnerabilities. They include a cross-site scripting vulnerability, that's the XSS. And it says they can break out, oh, that's what I've been doing, breaking out, I've been trying to. The href attribute and adding event handlers, that doing so far. And then it says its test payload was successfully stored and rendered. So it did a better job than I did. So let's see what that looks like. This is what it came up with. So it did break out. Yeah, it broke out like, oh, yeah, I don't know how this, so autofocus and then you say on focus. Oh. You know what? So this is correct. This is exactly the same. The only difference is I was using autofocus and on focus wrong. All right, so what I should be doing is this. You know, actually I can use the previous one. Right. All right. So it should be this. I don't know. I don't use this handler. There we go. So that's what this should look like. The URL field will now look like. Close the quote. Properly add an autofocus. This bugs me, by the way. On focus handler, and then I'm going to put in the fetch, complete with the post parameters and the quote, and then close it. Close it, right? And they did that too. They closed it. This is standard procedure. I just was off about this, and so that broke everything else. Actually, all these payloads probably would have worked. I'm going to take this off, and this comment, by the way, is only here like the comment's only there as a reminder to me, like the real payload is being delivered in this website field right here. The comment is not really part of it. This part is being properly inspected and sanitized, and so we don't have this opportunity to enter a payload here. I think it might freak out about these curly braces. Without the curly braces, this is a get. Okay, so if you don't put this in, it's going to be a get by default if you don't include these parameters right here. So that would be a question of whether or not the my account delete endpoint works as a get, which it shouldn't, but maybe it does. I don't know. All right, let's see. So if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to take this out. I can't think of any other way to specify these without using the curly braces, in a fetch at least. And so now we scan the site, and so hopefully it will trigger the fetch, and the fetch is for a post that does a delete, and since it's running as Carlos, it'll end up deleting itself, which is Carlos. If this doesn't work, I'm going to probably have to take the curly braces and the post off of that and see if it runs my account delete as a get. Again, it shouldn't do that, but this is a lab. A lab is allowed to do things that it shouldn't do. It didn't work. So I think it's the same thing, but I don't know. It would be weird in the real world for this to be a get, but maybe it is. I should have looked at the request more carefully at the time. Since you can only run it once is the problem. It's the curly braces, I know, because it hates these. Because when I looked earlier, those were being encoded, but these other characters are, for whatever reason, not, well, because it's a lab, are not being encoded. So this would be the new payload right here. It's a fetch to my can't delete, and it doesn't include any curly braces that pisses the thing off. Oops. Okay. So that is the new. That's the new payload. Okay. And rescan it. Darn it, I was not expecting that to not work. Are these all scan results? Scan results, scan results, scan results. Yeah. Let me see how that came out. Here it is. Huh, it didn't encode these. Yeah, so it thinks all of this is the URL. I suppose I could. You know what? I think it is encoding this before. Yeah, okay, I am going to need this. All right, so I'm going to have to place a post. I'm going to have to place a comment manually. So that means I need to know, I need to have a copy of the network request for placing a comment. And so let me acquire that. And for this, I'm going to just stick in the same thing. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so here's how I do that. I'll clear this so that comment hit the console history is clear. That'll do my post. Then I will be able to see here's the whole sequence of events that is triggered when you do an article post, comment post. Okay, so it does a comment. I accidentally hit a F5, so it actually posted it twice. That's why there's two instances here to complicate it for you. Sorry about that. Okay, so it's a this is the confirmation page. That's what you're looking at right here. And this is the request that actually places the comment. here's the payload. And this is what we want to mess with. So I'll take a copy of this. Go back to the blog, and now this is what the request to place a comment looks like. It is a fetch to the /post/comment URL. Here is the referrer, and here is the body of the request. It includes the CSRF token, obviously. Post ID 3. I don't know if do I need to change that? Who knows? We're going to change this to something else. It's going to say Hong Kong. Okay, and the website. Right. This could be these. Like that, and actually it doesn't, I just realized that part doesn't really matter. Just end it like that, and then have that so that that's not HTML encoded, and then onFocus will equal the fetch and the parentheses, and that will break that. That sucks. Yeah, that's a problem. I think that is a problem here. That is a problem. This right here. So that is a problem. Yeah, this is a string. It has to be enclosed. That's non-negotiable. This is a command. This is also a string, and it must be enclosed. That's non-negotiable. Is this non-negotiable? Yeah. Yeah, that is non-negotiable. There isn't any way around that. And if you do this, you're closing it. So that's a problem. And you can't do that. Well, that's messed up. Yeah, that won't work. I don't think. Let's see what it sent back. Oh, it sent it. There's the payload. Here's the confirmation. Let's see what happened on the page. Hong Kong. There's the new one, Hong Kong. The URL is going to be completely screwed up, though. Yeah, it is. See? Yeah, because look at how this turned out. That's not anything. That won't work. That doesn't do anything. That is invalid. Yeah, see? Because that's a string. That must be enclosed. There's no way around that. Like that. So I figured out what happened. I have a button, I have a macro button assigned to mute the microphone. That macro button, for whatever reason, also refreshes the page. I don't know why. I think it only does that in Chrome DevTools. have been on mute. Have been on mute. I have been on mute for quite a while. How long have I been on mute? Oh no. You know what? So I'm gonna recap what I just recapped since I don't know how long I was on mute. So take 2 of the recap, and I'll just edit these out. I really don't know how long I was on mute. All right. So it turns out adding this and including the payload as a script tag is what did the trick. As you saw in the video, it finally triggered. And I think the reason was since I went through again and tried it with a post, right? And went through that whole description about why post and fetch works the way that it does, and how this version of fetch is a delete or is a get. This is a get by default, and so. And I didn't expect that my account /delete, the delete endpoint, would be a get request. It seems like an odd thing to be a get request. I thought it was impossible for it to be a get request. Honestly, I thought it would just almost certainly have to be a post. In fetch syntax, in order to indicate that something is a post, you need to do this, right? You need to include, in fact, any parameters, request parameters that you need to include, need to be included in curly braces like that. That's just the way it works. Them's the rules. And so you can do this. This also is a get, right? Right? That's a get. But this, without any, is also a get, right? So the default behavior for a request is a get, is my point, right? So if you need to place a post, you must do this, right? This is required for a post request, right? Or a put or a delete or anything. The default request is a get. Anything else you need to specify. Also, as I mentioned, any other parameters you would specify right here. Comma separated, right? So I had been including this post like the whole time. And the curly braces were being encoded. So, I mean, I'd like to test it again to figure out whether or not the curly braces were breaking it. But it turns out it doesn't matter, because it took this out to simplify the request, and the actual request that did complete and was placed and did delete the Carlos was a get request. Here it is right here. Get my account delete, right? Now, I don't know why there's a post for my account delete. It seems weird. I don't know. I'm still confused about this. I'd like to know whether or not the delete account has to be executed as a post. In our test, we executed it as a post. In the one test in which I deleted the actual account, I had executed it as a post. And so... Anyways, it turns out for the purposes of this lab, it is a get request and not a post request. By the way, yes, I'm redoing the end in case there's 2 versions of this, because I was on mute, or seem to have been on mute, and I don't know how long I was on mute. So if you're looking at the live version of this, apologies. I'll edit it together so that it doesn't repeat at some point. Forgive me for that. So the it ended up just being a fetch. The only thing is that before I was doing various things like okay, let's see, this is the one that ended up doing it, ended up working. But here's what we were doing before, was stuff like this. I don't know why that's all in uppercase. Calm down. Okay, before I was doing things like handlers on the URL itself. Right, so imagine that was being closed. Imagine that we were allowing it to close. We were putting it in here as other things like, and then we put an on focus like this, which actually was suggested by the scanner. And then inside there we put the fetch for account delete. and then we close that URL, the URL tag, and then we open up another tag and leave it dangling so that it can close it out and leave the end up appending the syntax as it does, and this gets ends up getting inserted as the payload. This is what we were doing before, right? This is the and this one has much less elegant entire script payload, which I just consider this less elegant. That's all. There's another thing I'm noticing about it though that makes it different. I mean, the one difference is it requires fewer quotes, right? Because this is inside what is inside the script tag does not need to be quoted, and that kind of, I think, could have made a big difference. Another thing is it also doesn't require any spaces. Did you notice? If you want to use OnFocus, you need the autofocus tag, and those are two words. That means at a minimum there's going to be spaces. There's going to be 2 spaces. Like if it was just, well, OnFocus is going to be 1 space, so this is going to be 1 space anyways, right? I mean, you can't get away from this. There's going to be spaces. And whereas in this version, you don't need any spaces at all, because the brackets are the greater than less than symbols are essentially your delimiters in this syntax. Anyways, so there we go. That's the second time explaining the solution. Also worth noting that, you know, when you do have the right solution, it just tells you, right? So you'll run the scan and it'll just tell you that you have solved the lab. You don't have to look at the scan results or anything. So if you're running the scan and you're like, I can't tell whether I solved it or not yet, if the scan completes and you haven't seen this, you didn't solve it yet. Again, the links to all this stuff should be in the doodly-doo for this video, and I do recommend it, and I hope I didn't miss too much of my my summary at the end because I was on mute for so long. In any case, I hope people enjoy this, and I hope to do more of these, and let me know down in the comments and do all this stuff. So you're supposed to click all the clickable stuff that you're supposed to click, and maybe I'll do some more. Thanks a lot for tuning in, and see you later. This is me on Hacker. Catch you later.